right? You have a lot of turnover, possibly. Kelsey may be finished.
Where I'm looking up average life expectancy. I'm dreaming at this point. Like, I can't. I'm done with the season.
What's the next evolution of Pat Mahomes? And it's weird to be talking about a guy like, what's the next evolution of Pat Mahomes, and he's not 30. You could be anywhere doing anything, but you're hanging out with us, and we appreciate that. So wherever you're listening and however you're listening, we appreciate you guys for listening. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of the Gameplan Podcast. Alex Goodwin is my name. You can follow me on Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. Again, that's on Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. That's T as in tacos, S as in sangria, M as in margaritas. Kennedy Miller, my guy.
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Pretty good, dog. Pretty good. Ken, where can the folks find you on the artist formerly known as Twitter?
You can follow me on Twitter at _Kennedy Miller _. Again, that's _Kennedy Miller _.
All right. Joining us today, special guest. You can catch him covering high school sports in Houston and the entire greater Houston area. Football, basketball, baseball, softball, track. He even be broadcasting them boys throwing a shot put. JT Barrett, Texan Live. What's going on, dog?
Man, I once had a call on ESPN Sports in the Top 10 for a soccer play.
Oh, yes, you did. I forgot to mention that. Shout out to you, JT. JT, you still on Twitter now? You still there? You still hanging out there?
Yeah, I still be engaging in that Hollapalooza, man. JT Barrett CFB, that's where you can follow me.
All right. Starting off, I said M as in margaritas. I should have said M as in Moore, because I don't think we need to know any more about the former head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, Sherrone Moore, and him summoning the spirit of great HR menaces of college football's times past, Mel Tucker, Bobby Petrino, Hugh Freeze. So as the story has continued to go over the past week, it's gotten crazier and crazier and crazier. So JT, what is the craziest part of this entire Sherrone Moore thing? What's the wildest thing to you?
Man, I think there are a lot of different things that you can really kind of look at to say what's the craziest part, right? I mean, I would have to say the craziest part is that he saw Ime Udoka lose his job, and he was like, I bet I can do it. Bet I can do it in a worse way. I'm gonna one up you. Hold my beer. Let me show you how I'm gonna do it, huh? Seriously speaking, I just don't understand how Sherrone Moore thought that it was going to be a good idea to get fired, leave that place, and go to his mistress' home and grab a knife and be like, butter knife, because, like, Sherrone Moore is African American, but Sherrone Moore, I don't know how much black he got in him, because why are you grabbing a butter knife? All right, like that. I mean, yeah, I don't understand what it is. What's going on with these coaches chasing after, I want to say women, but like Ime Udoka was leaving like Nia Long. Like, what are we doing? What do they have on us?
This is just a lack. I think it's for some of these people, this is a lack of discipline, right? A lack of discipline. And I ain't gonna front with you. I think Sherrone Moore has a problem, like a real deal problem, right? Because he out here, I think for me, the wildest part about this whole thing is that at one of the local restaurants in Ann Arbor, they let him name two menu items. He named one of them after himself and named another one after the mistress. Right? Jay, have you not seen this?
Did not know that whatsoever, but I mean,
hold on, JT. I sent it to you, Ken, didn't I?
I saw it.
Yes. So hold on, JT.
So wait, did no one question why he would name that dish after her, or did they just say, "Oh, this might be a little weird, but maybe that's his daughter name"?
That's the thing I'm not completely sure about, right? But what it appears to me, there are so many parts of this. Like, that's wild. The fact that Sherrone Moore DoorDashed to Plan B to his office.
That's the craziest part. Like, that's the dumbest part.
DoorDash to Plan B. Now, again, I'm not going to speak too much about myself as to not incriminate myself about anything, right? But I'm like, brother, man, if you got a situation like that where you need emergency contraception, DoorDashing it is not the way that you. The best way to have a conspiracy, brother, is to keep the circle small, involving a random DoorDasher. It's not how to do that.
Did we not learn anything from Charles Barkley and Jesse Smollett? Jesse Smollett, like, you don't commit crimes with checks, right? You don't commit crimes or do dirt through DoorDash. How does someone who makes this much money literally don't have a guy for everything? If I made $5 million a year, I would have a guy for everything. Every single thing. It wouldn't matter if it was illegal or legal. I have a guy for it. All right. What do I don't understand what we're doing here.
Why couldn't she go get it? Like that, like, why can't you give her the money and she goes to get it? Like, you're the public figure here. Nobody knows who this woman is. It's just getting another Plan B. It's a regular Tuesday. Just going to Walgreens and checking out. But you DoorDash it to the athletic facility.
To your office.
Like, you can't even have her cousin. She can't have her cousin pick it up, drop it off at home, put it in the mailbox, any other place than your job. And then she's making $50,000 and it gets up to $90,000 in a year. So that leads me to question, there's no way he did this by himself. Like he didn't approve this salary by himself. So, like, I definitely feel that they knew about this. They knew about this for a while. And they were trying to see how well they were going to do. Are you going to beat Ohio State? You don't beat Ohio State, all this stuff is going on. Okay, we can fire you with cause. We don't have to pay you this money. We don't have to pay you the money because you're sleeping with an employee. But, like, it's rumors that she's allegedly on the plane with his wife. Obviously, we see all these pictures running around like he's ghosting. He's ghosting. She's Angela walking through the park and all this, man. I say, come on, Sherrone. Come on, dude. Come on, dude.
Yo, here's the thing to me. Something that I knew about Sherrone Moore, and I figured this out very early when they asked him that question about Jalen Milroe and black quarterbacks.
I was just going to say that.
And he went to that whole I don't see color, whatever. I said, all right, I know what your queen looks like. I already know. But here's how you really know Sherrone Moore is not married to a black woman. There is no way in the world a black woman will allow herself to be openly embarrassed, right? Like this.
No, she
not
would
a
have
chance.
Covered the entire thing up by herself.
No, well, look, shoot. I'm like, look here. Sherrone would be sleeping. He'd be sleeping in that office.
No.
He'd be sleeping.
No. Well, listen. Let me tell you the reason why. All right.
Talk to me.
Let me tell you the reason why. Because he makes so much money, she's not leaving that. Okay. So if this is something that we just have to clean up and get rid of all of the evidence, I will do it myself because I am smarter than you. And typically women are smarter than men. But I feel as though we have seen recently that it's like not the white.
The OnlyFans models. That too. Sherrone Moore been texting these women on OnlyFans, right? During games. So
you don't have a burner account. Like Kevin Durant has given you the blueprint. It's just a burner. You don't need to engage. If you're going to be on OnlyFans, there's no need to engage with them. Just pay for the content, watch, do what you do, and leave. You don't need to engage.
JT, it's just like you said. Where are your guys? Where are your guys that's on the payroll? Like, did we not watch Chris Carter, right? You got to have a fall guy. You got to have somebody that takes responsibility. Hey, I found this, I saw this girl on Instagram. I think she's attractive. Let her know. Coach at Michigan is interested in you. It don't get traced back to you. It's not your DMs. Like, what is this dude doing?
Don't text nobody.
Don't text nobody.
You can, and I think he's on OnlyFans and one of them under his real name. Or he's hitting some of these women up on Instagram under his verified account. Like,
Alex,
this is how you know this man is just horny. Like, detrimentally, criminally horny.
When you said the Jalen Milroe comment, what I thought about was when he was the interim coach and they interviewed him and he was crying. I mean, nothing against emotion, right? Big time win. But then I had to rewatch it again. So he's like, "It's for you, Coach Harbaugh. Love you, man. I love you, dude." I said, "Nah, he ain't one of us." I didn't like the way he said that. I didn't like the way he said it.
You know who he sounded like? You know who he sounded like? Sherrone Moore sounded like Anton Jackson when Eddie on Undercover Brother. That's who he sounded like. That's who Sherrone Moore really sounded like. Like, this is ridiculous. And I ain't gonna lie to you. As bad as this is, as much as Sherrone Moore don't want to see color, I promise you, he has probably figured out very quickly that his black ass will not be coaching college football possibly ever again. He'll be lucky if he can get a job at Mary Hardin Baylor. He'll be lucky if he can get a job at Austin College or somewhere like that. It's over.
You know who he would need to talk to in this situation?
God.
But he unfortunately, he should have been did that. But there's a guy that he could have talked to in this situation. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. But there is a guy who was African American, but did not mess with the black people, and wound up in some trouble. Had to drive a Bronco down the highway, and his lawyers told him, "It's time for you to get black. It's time for you to turn black." Okay?
You say Sherrone Moore gonna have to zip up, put his suit on?
Right? Like, OJ would have been the perfect person to talk to in this situation. Like, nobody black really messing with Sherrone Moore. And so although everyone black was messing with OJ, it was for different reasons. And then everybody kind of stopped after a while. And then when he went to court, somehow OJ won over all of the black people again. How do you do that? There's a game plan to it, but OJ isn't here anymore.
But JT, I'm guessing you're saying like OJ in terms of not killing anyone, but in terms of like crisis management.
Correct. Yeah. Like how do I get all of the black people back to my side? Because man, once he said that thing, once he was doing all that crime for Harbaugh, and then once he said that thing about I don't see color, when black folks say I don't see color, that is a red flag, each and every way.
He pulled the Hubert Davis.
Yeah, he pulled
the Hubert Davis.
Yes.
It was like a year apart. I said, "Are you trolling me?" I feel like I just heard this speech at Hubert Davis' introductory press conference.
And both of them brought it up like for no real reason at all. And like just going, yes. We asked you about being a black coach or something unrelated. Jalen Milroe ain't got a whole bunch to do with your white wife, right? Like it has nothing to do with any of this. JT, I was just trying to make sure like people don't disaggregate this and talk about like you're saying he can relate to OJ and think we talking about killing somebody.
Oh, no. It was all about Christ managing, right? But here's the thing.
Just making sure. Just heating this up.
Sherrone Moore was out there taking up for Bill O'Brien. Who in the hell is doing that?
Wait, he did what?
Like, that's the reason why this whole thing took place when he was talking about he doesn't see color, because it was Bill O'Brien telling Jalen Milroe that he couldn't play quarterback.
And I won't lie to you, there was reason to believe that possibly we've all watched Jalen Milroe play in college, and it was all among we were like, hey, you think he can run an out route? How good you think he can run when you think he can run a 9 or a 7? You think he'd look good doing that? Like, it wasn't the craziest thing in the world. I get where people were coming from.
It is the craziest thing because it's from Bill O'Brien, who ain't never been good at anything. Man, people like to credit Bill O'Brien for a lot of things. That dude went to Penn State. Them dudes had 7-win season. They like, oh, he turned this program around since Joe Paterno. Man, no, he didn't, man. That dude was mediocre there. He went to the Houston Texans. He got bailed out by having some really good talent on offense and Deshaun Watson in the running game and also in DeAndre Hopkins. And then what happened when he left, it was awful after that. He was bad in New England when he went back there. He's bad at Boston College right now. He was bad in Nick Saban's system as an offensive coordinator. Bill O'Brien can't coach.
You hate that man. I keep forgetting. You say the name Bill O'Brien, JT. It's like JT gets triggered. But I will say this about Sherrone Moore. You said Sherrone Moore needs to crisis management. Crisis management for Sherrone Moore would look a couple of different ways. Number one,
go to a black church. That's the first step.
He doesn't go to black church. Maybe whenever he does his 60 Minutes interview, because I do think Sherrone Moore has a problem. Like if you DMing only women on OnlyFans, you got a side chick at your job, you doing all this other stuff, brother. You have an issue, right? Like you have some problems. Like you have an addiction, brother. So that's one. But number two, at least for me right now, that man clearly does not need to be coaching anybody's young people, because the things that he's supposed to be helping young people, the skills he's supposed to be helping young people acquire, it appears that when it comes to this situation here, he don't have any of it. He don't have no discipline. He don't have no responsibility. He has no accountability, right? Like this.
No street smart.
No common ass sense. He don't have none of it, right? And so if you say go to a black church, the only places that might hire him to coach O-line, right? Like he would be able to figure it out if it was just, cheating on your wife, HR type stuff, right? He'd be able to figure that out and possibly get another job, right? I mean, look, the president of the United States is a 34-time felon and tried to overthrow the government. Look what he is, right? Obviously white, but you get where I'm going. But the moment you went up into this woman's house, pulled a butter knife,
That's where it went. That's where it went.
That's where it's like, brother, man, you ain't never ever gone this is probably over for you before you're 40 years old. The only players I can think of that might give him a job now, because we some forgiving folks, even for them folks that talk about they don't see color, right? Well, he gonna see a whole lot of color the next job if he ever wants to get one, because the only places he's gonna be coaching offensive line. Hello, Fort Valley State. Hello, Morgan State. Hello, Morehead State. Tremaine Jackson at Prairie View. Shout out to the home team. Tremaine might need an offensive line coach. He will be surrounded by negritude, right? Like the black portion of Sherrone Moore's life is going to begin right now, because he can kiss major college football goodbye. It's a wrap.
Well, here's the game plan, right? Because black church folks are the most forgiving. Now, you are going to get talked about. All right. That's like, let me say that again. You are going to get talked about. All right. In that church house. Okay. But they are forgiven. All right. And if you come to the altar, them older black ladies, they're going to put their hands on you and they're going to pray for you. They're going to forgive you and they're going to put you in the community where you can succeed. Right now, Sherrone Moore needs the black church. And if he can do that, that's the first step to getting back to, where he wants to go. He ain't never going to be a head coach again, but he can still make millions of dollars somewhere. But the black church is the first step.
Can we just set him up with Jamal Bryant, possibly?
I mean, we all just kind of said it, but the butter knife was too far. Like
breaking into a woman's house is too far.
Okay. So when I got the notification, right? He's fired, inappropriate relationship with a staff member. It's not the first time we've seen that. Seen worse. All right, it happens. Okay, not excusing it, but we've seen that happen in college football, and in college sports, we know that it's probably happening more than being reported. But then, 50 minutes later, Sherrone Moore has been detained by police. I'm sorry, what? What is going on here? He breaks into the woman's house with a butter knife and threatens to end his life. And the woman says, "You ruined my life." Yeah, buddy, you're done. Because not only the infidelity part, now we don't trust your mental health. And so dude had a top 10 job in his profession.
At the age of 39.
Age of
39.
They handed him that job. They didn't do a search. They didn't do nothing. No. Black man was handed the keys to the kingdom. And this isn't like, oh, they handed you, this ain't David Culley getting a Texans job, right? This isn't, them Carl Durrell, or whatever random black coach they had coaching at Colorado because no white boys wanted the job, right? This is a great job. This is a top tier job. This is one of them helmet jobs that you work your career for. And you would have handpicked successor.
Started off as a GA.
Dog, you blow and you set fire to it literally less than 2 years later. Like, that's where I'm talking about. Like, you can't trust this guy has terrible judgment. And I will say this, there's a whole bunch of people out there who are talking about this is why you shouldn't hire attractive women to work in the workplace. This is why you should, women will tempt you and all this other good stuff. I'm like, man, that is so sexist and so terrible. I'm like, because what you're basically saying is if there are attractive women around, period, you have no self-control, right? Like, no. Or, this woman should have known Sherrone Moore was married and had children. And to me personally, the person who should be responsible for Sherrone Moore's kids and his wife is him. That is his responsibility. That is his problem, right? That ain't no one else's problem. Can't nobody else respect your relationship more or less than you do, right? Like, that's just the God's honest truth. And if we're being real, that man made active choices. To pursue a relationship with a subordinate. The man made active choices to do so apparently unprotected. He made active choices to then, when there's a crisis afoot, to DoorDash a plan B to his office.
To up her pay.
Because now she got now this person has some leverage, right? And could blow up your whole spot, right? And then you fired a woman. Like, you made active choices all throughout this. And then after you've been fired, then you make the active choice to drive to this woman's house to pull a butter knife and threaten to kill yourself. Now, again, this is how you know Sherrone Moore was out of his damn mind. What the hell you gonna cut yourself? You gonna cut your arteries and bleed out on this woman's floor with a butter knife? Are you crazy? Like, go try to cut some bread with like some basic non-toasted bread with a weak ass butter knife in your kitchen. What are you doing? What, like, oh.
Well, here, last two things from me on this, right? One, Kennedy, you kind of alluded to this earlier. This has been happening for a very long time, right?
Absolutely.
And there were rumblings all the way back in like July. Like, they did an investigation like back in July or August, and it came up nothing because they both just said, no, like, we're not doing any of this, right? So, like, this has been around. And look, if you are bad at your job, or if someone deems that you're bad at your job, although you were the next man in charge, look at Mayo. Look at Gerard Mayo. Like, he was the next man up, right? Dude didn't last a year, and he was already out of there. They will find a reason to get rid of you. If they would have beat Ohio State, Sherrone Moore is still the head coach.
I totally agree with that.
Yes.
That is something I've been thinking about that for a while though. But what were you about to say, Ken?
No. I was just agreeing with what JT said. Like, I think this was, like I said, from the jump, I think they knew about this. They were aware of it and just like kept it in the back pocket. But as soon as you go astray, like y'all lose to Ohio State, we spent this much money on the roster, man, and I can fire you with cause. I get to save
all of that money. Yeah, exactly.
And I think for him, what has to be is, again, this is where it's like, all right, I don't think this is his whole I don't see color stuff. This is where I think he really messed up here, right? Like, brother, man, you always got to be above reproach, beyond reproach. Because this right here, like, you can't give nobody no reasons, bro. Like, you can't make no mistakes. And he has made a litany of them. And let's be honest about Michigan. They've made a litany of them in terms of their football staff hires over the past like 10 years. Like, they had to find an athletic director behind all of this because Jim Harbaugh, like, this whole Sherrone Moore thing, and given some of the other stuff that's happened in their athletic department related to the football team and not, this makes that sign stealing scandal seem like child's play, right? I don't know if Denard Robinson, a whole bunch of other football staffers got a bunch of DUIs. They got fired. There was, of course, the former quarterback's coach. he gets arrested by the FBI for computer access crimes, which we later find out he was hacking college girls' emails and taking their intimate photos and pictures, right? They got the hockey situation where there's a hostile environment for the players. There's somebody else who was working in the athletic department. I think he was a coach for the football team or affiliated with the football team. He gets arrested after he's going to meet what he thinks is a 13 or 14-year-old girl with some alcohol. Right? Like, if this was University of Miami where this was happening, if this was like Florida State where this was happening, if this was one of those, this we're talking about like a giant scandal. Like the Sherrone Moore thing is just like the big cherry on top. But there's so much stuff underneath there at Michigan where I ain't gonna lie, I don't know when they're gonna be able to honor the 2023 national championship team. I don't know when they're gonna be able to do that because you can't bring Harbaugh back for a while. Sherrone Moore can never return to Ann Arbor, ever. They ain't gonna allow him in city limits. They gonna have a sign at city limits like they used to have at Universal Records. They had some at the security desk. There was a picture of Suge Knight. Do not let this man in the door. That's what they gonna have there for sure.
Well, listen, I'll say this. This is my last thing, and I think we can bring it home with this. There is someone out there right now sitting down with pen and paper, and that movie is coming out in about July. Tyler Perry is salivating over this right now. He cannot wait to direct this movie here. And I guarantee you, Sherrone Moore is going to wind up with a black woman in that church in a Tyler Perry movie. I guarantee it. Can't wait for it to happen. You know it's coming. Y'all know it's coming. You know it is.
Yo, no one's salivating more. No one's more happy to see all this craziness than Tyler Perry and Dr. Umar.
Come on now. I'm trying to tell you, Dr. Umar, he what did he say? Sherrone Moore got snow bunnied.
No. He said he's been double bunnied. That was the phrase he used. He got double bunnied. Okay. And once it all popped off, and again, there are certain things about this story, like him breaking into that woman's house, that's not funny at all. Like, all right, bro, you OD. Like that's ridiculous. Right. But I won't lie, there were certain parts of this, some of the Dr. Umar parts of this, that I won't lie, were very humorous. Very humorous. All right. Switching gears, right? From a hot mess that couldn't be any hotter, right? To possibly one of the best young teams in the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs, right? 18-8, beat the Thunder to make it to the NBA Cup Finals, right? Lost to the Knicks, right? But Victor Wembanyama, year 3, what do you make so far of the Spurs season through 26 games?
They're better than expected. Obviously, Wemby has missed some time, but a lot of that is attributed to the growth that he's shown over the summer. Fox being able to implement himself, he's been playing well with them. Obviously, Dylan Harper looks like he doesn't look like a rookie most nights. Like he's playing well above his years. So I see them probably as a first or second round team, depending on the matchup. I still, obviously Oklahoma City is one and everybody else is looking up at them. I still see Denver and Houston ahead of San Antonio. The Lakers would just have to see what their roster ends up finishing with, because I think they'll make a trade. But I think that those are the top, 5 teams. I think those are the top 5 teams in the West, right? You got Minnesota, who might be looking to make a deal too towards the trade deadline. So to see what they end up with. But I think those are the teams that will kind of get out of that play-in. And like I said, depending on who they play in the first round, I think they can make it to the second round. And then I think they'll end up running into maybe a Denver, maybe a Oklahoma City where they're just not ready. They're just a year away. They're just maybe another piece away. But they do have a promising young core. Wemby is on the trajectory to be the next best player in the NBA. I think the NBA's like best five, like their best five players kind of rivals these, these all time. When we looked at the all NBA team in 2009, I think it was, D Wade, Braun, White, Kobe, Chris Paul, maybe. And then you got like the 2002, we know the T-Mac, the Kobe, KG, Duncan, Shaq. And then that all NBA team with like Barkley, Akeem, Jordan. I think this five right now in the league where you got Jokic, Giannis, Wemby, Luka, Shea, like when we go back and look at it, these guys, you might be looking at 3 or 4 guys that end up being top 20, top 25 all time. So I think the league is in a good place as far as star talent, right? The stars that they have. And so I'll be interested to see how the Spurs end up matching up throughout the season, but they definitely have the roster to kind of put some people on their heels.
JT?
Yeah, I think with the Spurs, I think kind of Kennedy really said it best. Like it's a young core. Wemby is absolutely going to be a problem as long as he can stay healthy, right? I mean, I think that's going to be one of the key things is him being healthy, staying healthy. That's going to be like really important for them. But I think they do have a really good young core. Um, and so I think if you're kind of like asking me, I think the Thunder are beatable. The reason why I say that is because that's a team it's a team full of like scrappiness, right? Like, do they play good basketball? Absolutely. They move the ball around. Like, typically, if it's not in Shea's hands, it doesn't usually stay in one person's hand. Like, the ball kind of hops and moves around, right? But, like, if someone comes up with a game plan for Shea, or if you take the Adrian Peterson approach and just say, all right, we're going to let Shea do whatever, but nobody else is going to get anything. Like, I think the Thunder are beatable, but you just have to find a way. I think what the Spurs did was that they kind of really just found a way. They said, hey, if y'all going to, I'm 7'2", if y'all going to put somebody that's 6'1" on me, I'm going to eat them alive. Right. Like barbecue chicken every single day. Put them in a post. That's fine. I'm about to show you exactly why you will never do this to me again. That is the type of mentality that Wemby needs and that he needs to show, like, kind of, I'm not going to say game in and game out necessarily, but that's something that he's going to need to show down the stretch, especially in the playoffs. So to me, whenever you get to the playoffs, it's really just about, all right, are you able to, do you have one guy or maybe two who can kind of take over the game? Those are the things that Wemby's going to have to show me in order to kind of make it deep.
Live, as a Spurs fan, this is the most excited I've been in several years. Ken, I know when we talked when the Spurs were 5-0, I told you, I said, I'm excited. I'm like, we might actually be something, but I'll check back in after 25 games. Because typically what a team is after 25 games, like if you've got a team, after 25 games, you're playing 10, 12 games over 500. That's probably the type of team you're going to be, like a really good team. If you're like the Clippers, who have, I think, only won like 4 games so far out of they're like 5-22 or something like that.
They're terrible. They're terrible.
They are. Hey man, they are big old butt. I mean, like we said it. We said
I
it
like
before
to
the
put
show.
it. I
Go
like
ahead,
to
Jay.
put it booty, butt, and cheeks. They are all 3. All right, like
6 and
it's not
20.
just
6 and 20. Dog, I don't think this is this is likely the most losing Kawhi Leonard and James Harden have ever done in their entire lives. And you'd think a team with Kawhi Leonard and James Harden would be better than this. The problem is they old and slow, right? They old, slow. They got a whole mess on their hands. And like we weren't supposed to be talking about this, but all the stuff for Chris Paul is, I don't want to say hilarious, but Chris Paul's career ending like this is the most Chris Paul way to end a career because Chris Paul irritates people. Like he seems to be annoying to the max, right? And at this point in Chris Paul's career, he is best in that mentor / big homie role, right? But you're in that place of being providing mentorship and sage advice. You go to like last year with the Spurs, your big homie, right? Your mentor, right? Stephon Castle, all these other young players are more than likely willing to give you a listening ear. But Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Bradley Beal, they ain't got time for your big homie act, right? And more than that, he just seemed to be annoying. Did y'all see the story where they said Chris Paul was trying to do some team bonding activities, and so
With the Halloween party?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he had the Halloween party and no one came. And I'm like, I don't think that's about Chris Paul in terms of Kawhi Leonard. I don't think that's about Chris Paul. Kawhi Leonard just all Kawhi Leonard does is play basketball, watch Martin, and go home, right? But no one came. And like, bro, JT, do you know how mad they had to be to say F your reunion tour? Excuse me, F your retirement tour, dog. F your retirement tour. And we just gonna send you, we're gonna leave you in Atlanta. We're gonna send you a flight to LAX from Hartsfield Jackson. Middle of the night. We're done. We can't do this anymore. Like
I can tell you who wasn't happy about that.
Who?
His wife. She's like, look, I am used to you not being here. Where are you going to go? Because you cannot stay here during this time. I am not dealing with this. I'm not prepared for this is what I've been trying to prepare for this year. I knew you were retiring this year. So this is my preparation season. Okay. I'm not ready for you yet. So where are you going to go? Who are you going to go sign with? Can you coach a little league? All right. Can you do something? Because you're not going to be in this house with me.
Go be productive.
If they don't want you, what makes you think that I want you here?
In the house. Just doing nothing. Chris Paul is probably going to be pulling what John Gruden been doing the last 3-4 years. John Gruden just in the other room just eating film for no reason. It's like, what you doing? I'm watching film for no reason. That's probably what Chris Paul is doing right now, right? Watching film for no reason because he was at the NBA Cup game with watching the Spurs, giving advice from the sidelines. It's like he needs something to do, right, Ken?
Yeah, because his wife said he can't be at home.
You said his wife. Hey, Ken, your grandfather's still alive, right, Ken?
Mm-hmm.
How long your granddaddy been retired?
Dude, might be like 20-something years.
OG, I bet you is still active, still trying to mow the yard, still trying to move around, ain't he? Because I just can't sit still. I got to do something, right?
I do something.
That's Chris Paul.
Well, Chris Paul, he has to do something not because he wants to do it under his own volition. Some of this I think is involuntary because, like JT said, his wife is like, "You got to get the hell up out of here. You have to go be productive, sir."
Gotta go.
They suck in a way that you can't do nothing with this. I bet you Steve Ballmer might try to help Pablo Torre because he got to get him from up under this Kawhi Leonard contract, baby. He could be like, yes, we paid him money under the table. Please void his contract. Please. And don't let him resign here. No. He can't come back. No.
Well,
Get him and James.
I don't understand what it is that they were doing in the offseason, right? Like, okay, we're going to trade Norman Powell so that we can sign Bradley Beal of all people. Like, come on, man, you got to be kidding me. Bradley Beal ain't been good in a couple of years, and you're going to literally trade away your leading scorer in Norman Powell for Bradley Beal, who ain't put together a productive season in about 5 seasons. So that's kind of like your first mistake right there. And then it was just mistake after mistake after mistake that just kind of really just happened. You have the distractions with the Pablo Torre things as well. And then, of course, Kawhi Leonard ain't never playing 82 games in the season ever again. James Harden, he got distractions because his restaurant in Houston getting shut down. 13 is getting closed down, right?
What happened with 13? What happened?
There were signs on the door. There were signs on the door at 13, man, talking about some.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. There were signs on the door. I don't know if it's still happening or not. I guess so, right?
Violations.
I guess so. But I mean, James Harden, old dog. Like, for NBA terms, you know what I mean? Like him at 30, how old is James Harden? 35?
38. He got to be
30?
36.
Bro, if James Harden 38, like it's time to go. But I don't think he's that old. I want to say
Nah,
he's
he's like, I
probably
want to say he's
30.
like 36.
Steph is
Yeah.
38. My bad. Wrong person.
Yeah, so James Harden might be like 35, 36. Listen, I'm 34. I'm not old, but I don't play in the NBA. Like in terms of NBA, like James Harden is 100 years old at this point in time. It's time for him to go. So you have to find a way to rebuild that team, and you can't because you gave all of your picks away in order to go get acquire a guy who no longer plays on your team.
Playoff P.
PEE. Like, and when you say the P, add the EE at the end of it.
Yo,
It's crazy that you said that because I coined the term playoff piss. That's what I used to call it because it would just run down his leg every single time. Every single time.
Every time.
Yo, they have, I don't know. You know how they always say that women from the islands, they'll put a curse on you, put a hex on you. There is bad juju with the LA Clippers, right? James Harden's averaging like 26 points a night, and they can't play dead. Can't play dead. Kawhi Leonard's playing well. Them boys, they're old and slow. Right?
I
don't know what
into thinking that they were going to be like good. I actually like bought into it. I don't know why. I did. I bought into it in the offseason. Like I thought John Collins would be a good lob threat. I thought if anywhere was going to work, Bradley Beal, lower usage, he might be able to contribute. You're not asking him as much from a production standpoint because you got these other guys. They got Brook Lopez. They finally got a serviceable backup big. My thinking, I didn't know it was going to fall off a cliff this year. And then, I didn't think Chris Paul was going to be a great backup point guard, but I was like, okay, in the minutes that James Harden is not in, you still got a quality playmaker. Like he was still a quality playmaker in San Antonio last year. Like he was okay. He just can't guard anybody. But this team is like, they're cooked. And even like Nick Batum, like he's old too.
Nick Batum's 50.
Like they still got him in the rotation. I'm like, what? Like the only, like you got Zubac, but I mean, he moves as slow as him. Still a quality player though, and I'm sure a lot of teams are going to try and trade for him around the deadline. But the only like young player that you really got is what's my guy, the guard. It's on the tip of my tongue. I don't know why I can't think of his name. Chris Dunn.
Chris Dunn.
Chris Dunn. He's solid. He's a good wing defender, right? Can't shoot a lick, but
he was missing every single three last year in the playoffs. I mean, he
couldn't throw a rock in the ocean.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Steven Jackson said one time about Andre Robertson said he couldn't hit a house from the kitchen.
Yeah, they got dudes like they're gonna have to figure out what their tradable assets are because this Kawhi Leonard era is over. Like Kawhi Leonard, James Harden putting up a combined Zoo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, but what are you getting for Zubac now? You know what I mean? Like I don't know who's giving you a first round pick for Zubac unless somebody's center goes down.
Right, you're not gonna get a ton back, but what you like the only trade again, these are not. This is like going to the club and you got 2 half-drank bottles, like 3/4 bottles drank of like Crown and whatever else. You trying to barter for something else, right? You got a whole bunch of Mad Dog 2020 on the rest of that roster, right? Zubac is a decent bottle, right? Zubac's a decent bottle, right? You can get something for that, right? Again, not nothing. You're going to be able to get you some. Can we drink Ciroc VS now? Can we drink that again?
I was gonna call him Jack Daniels. You know what I mean? It's a good, solid foundational piece. You know what I mean? When you go out, let me get Jack and Coke or something like that, and it doesn't ever really cost that much. You know?
Right. You're not gonna be able to trade that in and get some Hennessy White or make something that's not gonna happen.
Like depending on what bar you go to, Jack Daniels could be top shelf, or it also could be the Wells. So like that's kind of what Zubac is. Like it just kind of just depends on where you go. Yeah.
So Zoo, Chris Dunn, Derek Jones, they don't have a lot. That Bogdanovich, you probably don't want. Like, no one, Brook Lopez, old as hell.
Yeah, nobody's taking that.
Right.
No,
like, they got a whole bunch of people that are OLD. That's what they got,
cooked, bro.
OLD.
They're cooked. And there goes James Harden's streak of making the playoffs every year.
I mean,
and they kind of had to put that roster together though because of the arena, right? Like they had to bring together names in order to sell tickets, right? Because that's what you have to do. You have a new arena, you have to pay this thing off. Although it came out of the owner's pocketbook, like he wants that money back. Ain't nobody just giving money away.
I mean, he's going possibly the only way he gonna get that money back. They need to bring WWE Monday Night Raw or Royal Rumble or something there. That was the only way that money getting back because LA, there are far too many things to do. If your team, I mean, Houston, Miami, LA, a few other places like this, if your team is trash, there are other ways to spend your money than watching a bad team. Right? You can go to Nobu and spend some crazy money or do something like that. Right? Like they are going to be bad. And I think, Jay, they had to put that roster together. One, the stadium, but two, when you they traded all of those picks for Paul George. Right? And so you're in a win now mode by default. All your moves have to be win now because there are no real ways to get cheap, young, fresh talent. So they're stuck like Chuck in the eras. This is I think Kawhi just signed an extension too, didn't he? Like 2 years ago?
He might have. I mean, that could be the case. I'm not sure, but I mean, he probably did. Like Kawhi is Uncle Dennis gonna make sure Kawhi is paid no matter what.
Poor man gets paid.
Look, and got
Uncle
him.
Uncle Dennis is absolutely the greatest uncle of all time. All right. You want to, I don't know how this man decided that he wanted to be a part of NBA circles, but he was like, yeah, Kawhi, I'll take over your money situation. That's what he did.
And got that man. Do you think it was Uncle Dennis's idea for that $30 million of that brown paper bag money? You think that was his idea? Because throughout the period where Kawhi was going to be free agent, they said he was asking people for all kinds of stuff, all kinds of craziness that people couldn't give.
Know, yeah, it was Uncle Dennis. Why? Because Uncle Dennis probably been around some drug dealers before. You know what I mean? So, like, it definitely, like, you know, maybe Sherrone Moore could have learned something from Uncle Dennis.
Sherrone Moore. Hey, that needs to be the takeaway from this podcast. Sherrone Moore needed an Uncle Dennis in his corner.
That is correct. Yes, he needed an Uncle Dennis.
If he did, he would still be coaching at Michigan today. Instead, he'll just have a drink named after him at the bar. Let me get a Sherrone Moore.
Let me get a Sherrone Moore. And let me tell you this. He probably has an Uncle Dennis and probably has not talked to that man in 20 years because he probably has not gone to that side of the family's Thanksgiving because everyone has that side of the family. He probably ain't gone to that side of the family Thanksgiving in a long time. But if he calls his Uncle Dennis right now, his Uncle Dennis is going to help him out. It's going to cost him something.
Hey, yo, somebody, I'm going to send y'all the video after we get off the air. But there's a video going around talking about you need to call Sharon. Like, oh God. But we weren't even supposed to be talking about the LA Clippers. We were supposed to be talking about the Spurs, but that's where it takes us. P time, fellas. CFP.
Before we get to we get to these games, man, like yo, let me just take 1 minute and let me just talk about this. Joel Klatt is an idiot. All right. Like I'm being like really serious about that. Like that what Joel Klatt said the other day talking about how the NCAA tournament is a joke. Like, I'm trying to figure out why in 2026 someone wants to mess up their reputation the way that he has, or even Kirk Herbstreit has, right? Like, these guys are just talking about, like, the larger part of all of this is our college sports should not be tied to a television station in ESPN. Like, college sports in general is about, like, the fans and the experience and like the regionality and things like that, it's not a money making venture. Okay. Have people made money? Sure. But it's not a money making venture. And we have tied our college sports to these networks. Okay. ESPN, Fox, CBS, and that has watered down the product of college. Saying that, Joe Klatt, saying that the NCAA tournament is a joke might be the worst thing that I've heard in the year of 2025. And like Donald Trump is our president, okay? So like you beating out him on saying dumb things, okay? Right? Like that like you should literally go sit in a corner, go sit in timeout, go put your nose in a corner, okay? And think about what the hell it is that that you just said, and then don't ever say it again. This dude talking about he's talking about G5 teams talking about they don't belong or it's a safety. I don't think he said it was a safety issue, but or they don't belong. Okay, well, who does? Who instead do you want to be in the playoffs, huh? Do you want it to be Notre Dame? They ain't played nobody. They damn near played a goddamn G5 schedule after that. Do you want it to be BYU? No, you don't want it to be BYU. They got Smangeldorfed by Texas Tech twice already. All right. Do you want it to be Texas? No. Texas lost to Ohio State. They lost to Florida. They lost to Georgia. And I mean they bent it over for Georgia. All right. Do you hear me? They had to go to overtime with Mississippi State. They also had to go to overtime with Kentucky. The bottom sellers here of the hot dang SEC, and you're telling me that they belong in as well? No. Do you want to put Virginia in? No, they lost their conference. Do you want to put Duke in? Absolutely not. They lost 5 games. Who else do you want to be in this playoff? Stop. Like football, like especially college football, is not necessarily about hey who is the best. College football is about an experience. We want to be able to experience. We all know we can look at it and see. We have recruiting sites everywhere. We can see the composite of 5 and 4 stars at this program and at this program. You don't have to tell us that this team out talents them, but that don't matter because it's a single game. Who can be better on this single day? Okay. And that's what we want to see. I'm not saying that we want to necessarily see Cinderellas, but we want to see football. Somebody said it on Twitter. 2007 was absolutely the best year in college football and that I probably could remember. Okay. And that's because it was parity like out the wazoo. I mean, any and everybody could win. But you also have different times where programs were elevating themselves. You look at Texas Tech back in the day when they had Michael Crabtree, right? Look at what it is that they were able to do. Okay, you know what I mean? Look at Washington just a few years ago. Nobody even thinks about Washington as a actual playoff team or a playoff contender or anything like that. But that team with Michael Penix and Roma Duze and all of them, they played in a national championship. Okay, you see what I mean? My team experienced it worse. All right. Boise State versus Oklahoma, Fiesta Bowl. I know what can happen when you come into a game unprepared. Joe Klatt, here's what I have to say to you. I think that you should quit your job as an analyst. I know you won't. You probably get paid a lot of money, but you should quit your job as an analyst. Okay. And like just go cover the NFL, bro. Like if that's all if you just want to see professional players, then go cover the NFL. But college has always been about stories. It has always been about at what program who can elevate. Pat White and Steve Sladen at West Virginia. Y'all think that wasn't fun to watch? We have to stop with this nonsense. And bowl games matter. Like organizations put contract stipulations for bowl games. You make it to a bowl game, you get a extra $250,000. So if it matters to the university, it should matter to everyone else. Stop with the nonsense.
I feel like we need to pass the plate around after that and, have a call to discipleship because that was a sermon, Brother Barrett. I needed an organ. Wah. Needed all that. Kid, what you got? Because, Jay, you said a lot right there.
I mean, he's making me want to unsubscribe to the Joel Clapp podcast because I do tune in, and I didn't tune in this week clearly for good measure, but yeah, I mean he brings up great points. I believe everything he said that college is about, I agree with. So I don't think college basketball in the tournament is something that is a negative thing or one of the worst things in sports. We talk about it all the time. We enjoy it. We fill out brackets. We do all that. So it's one of the best times of the year for me, because it's just so much basketball going on. So I disagree with Joel, and I completely agree with Mr. Barrett.
My thing is with college football is there's no easy way to put 12 teams in. Like there are 135 or 136 teams that play FBS football at this level. But if we're being honest about it, we're really talking about probably about 30 to 35 teams that are seriously like trying to win conference or, trying to make a playoff, right? That's what we're really talking about here, right? And this is not, if there's a committee, and if you can lobby your way into a playoff or try to lobby your way into a playoff, this isn't a real playoff. This is a TV show, which is what this is, right? This is a television show. This is built to make ESPN money, right? Which is why the entire time there was not a moment where I watched any of these rankings reveal shows, anything like that. I'm like, I don't need to do all of this. Just tell me who the 12 teams are at the end.
Yeah, I don't care about right
Like,
now.
I don't care. I don't care about none of that. Right. But which is why I think personally, the way some of this plays out, it's almost an impossible job because you have so many teams, 135 teams who are playing vastly different schedules, right? Vastly different levels of competition and vastly different talent levels. Right. So a UNT isn't going to play the same type of schedule that a Texas would, or that a Alabama would, or that a Miami would. Right. So how do you rank them against them when they probably have no common opponents? Right. Like how does JMU rank up against Ohio State? Right. Like that. It's a crazy idea. And the idea that we're trying to determine a champion like this is ridiculous. But if you really think about it, there's no good way to determine a champion in college football without pissing people off. There's no good way to do it, right? Because at one point it was a coach's poll. It was the polls back in the day. Folks weren't happy about that. Then it went to the computers. And then it's like, well, computers don't know and computers are stupid. Humans, you need eyes on the product. And then we go to humans. The humans are stupid, right? Like there's no good way to do this because no matter how big no matter how much they expand the tournament, you take it from a 14 playoff, team 5, team 6 are mad. You go to a 12 team playoff, team
Somebody's
13 and 14 are mad. They're going to go to 16 next year because, again, more money. More money. Team 17 and Team 18 are going to be bad. And for the folks who are saying that JMU is probably going to get blown out, that Tulane's probably going to get blown out, like go through the history of the playoffs. How many blowouts? There have been more blowouts than not.
Georgia had their fourth string in the national championship game versus
Michigan.
TCU.
Yes. Yeah, just blowing their doors off. The first year Michigan was stealing signs and whatnot. They played Georgia in the Orange Bowl, and Georgia had them boys biting the pillow immediately, right? Alabama playing Michigan State. Alabama playing a whole lot of people. Alabama had people biting the pillow. And then that one time Clemson had Alabama biting the pillow, right? Like there's more blowouts than not, right? And in the end of it, to me, you're going to end up with the same 4 or 5 teams anyway that we had with the 14 playoff. We're going to end up more than likely with an Ohio State. Not this Alabama this year. They ain't played well in about a month, right? Georgia, right? You're going to end up with them same handful of teams anyway. And Jay, to your point about this is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to just be a good experience. This is all better when it's regional. I think college football, there's a big element of it where it reminds me of high school ball, right? Where in high school football, everybody has a pretty tacit acknowledgement that you're probably not going to win a state title. You're probably not going to make a deep playoff run, right? But if your team goes 7-3, 8-2, goes around a 2 deep and lose, it was fun. We had a good year. We move on, right? Which is what I think a lot of people now that the expanded playoff, NIL and the portal and all this other stuff, it's got people thinking, got people chasing waterfalls, right? Mississippi State that year they had in 2015 where they were the number one team in the country. 2014 it might have been. Dak Prescott, the whole thing. Game day was out there. One of the greatest seasons in school history, right? No one looks back on that year like, well, we didn't win a national title. Like, nah, dog, we was the number one ranked team in the country. We had a year. That year you mentioned Steve Slayton, Pat White and them boys. Noel Devine. Remember Noel Devine? Real college football fans got if you were a real fan, Noel Devine. Right? That was a great year for them boys. You know what I'm talking about? Nobody's like, now, they had a real shot to win a national championship. Had they not lost, dang, I can't remember who they lost to that year. But they had a great shot to win. But people look back on that year fondly. Now, with the playoff, I think what it's created is a situation where, like, a team like Texas A&M, I think they did this with Johnny Manziel 12, 13 years ago. That was the worst thing that ever happened to them because now they, a 12 in 1 year, they're like, this should be like this every single year. And then they went back to being Texas A&M until this year?
Well, they did the most Texas A&M thing, which is, hey, we're gonna lose probably the most important game on our schedule, make it to the playoffs, and we're probably gonna lose in the first round of the playoffs as well because we are Texas A&M, and this is just who we are. Yeah.
That's the worst part about this season, like rooting for Texas this year for me and Ken, is that for different parts of the season, Texas has made me just like, I had to make sure I was taking my blood pressure medication because it was sky high. You mentioned Kentucky, you mentioned Mississippi State, was furious watching both of those games. And then you come out there against Oklahoma and against Texas A&M and you put a real game together. You handle real business. Where was this against Kentucky and Cutter Bowley? Where was this against Mississippi State? Where was it? Right?
Wait,
And I was
you guys are Texas fans?
Jay, yeah, Jay, I
Absolutely.
thought you knew this. Yeah.
So
Who
I
else am
do
I
have
rooting
a
for?
question. I have a question for you guys. Okay. Do you guys believe this is what I believe, all right? That when Steve Sarkisian came out and he started talking about, we should be in the playoffs. If we're not, then, why do we play Ohio State? Why do we play Michigan? All of those things, right? I mean, loser talk and loser behavior. But I thought I saw it as the first step of being out, going to the NFL. Kennedy, what do you think about that, right? Like, I saw it as an opportunity to say, like, hey, we won. They still didn't let us in. Like, I think it's time for me to go somewhere where the criteria is already set.
I would be interested to see now that you mentioned it. That's a good point. I didn't really agree with him making the comment, right? Because it's just kind of like what you alluded to a couple of minutes ago, or Alex, right? Just if I have to advocate for myself to get in, then I probably shouldn't be in. But as far as an NFL job, I would be intrigued to see what positions would be open that would pique his interest, right? Like, what would be a job that would make him say, I'm willing to leave Texas for this? Or you just think because of how this playoff is done that he'd rather just go to a place where, like, we have a good record, we're going to make the playoffs. And so I don't
Well,
have to deal with
well, there were the reports about him about the NFL interest
Tennessee.
and with especially with Tennessee. So about the NFL
it.
interest, especially with Tennessee, there are reports about, he was supposed to get the divorce, and they didn't get the divorce.
They did
They
not.
wound up having a baby.
They did.
And so, hey, that's a black lady.
Queen, black
Yeah,
queen.
he married a black woman, and so maybe nowadays you have to spend more time. If you coach college football, you have to spend more time in the office than you do in the NFL. And so with the lighter load on the NFL and actually more money, like, like Andy Reid getting paid $20 million, right? Like, Ben Johnson is getting paid 15. So, like, Steve Sarkisian, I think he's around like 10 or 11. He
10.
could probably get a little bit of a pay bump. But with that, my thought was, okay, he's saying all of this because when he does leave, it'll be easier for him
It's
to
already been
explain.
planted. Seed has already been planted.
Correct.
I wasn't sure. 'Cause I think I saw you mention this on Twitter. I think I saw you mention this on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, Jay. And my big thing was always, I thought personally, 10, 15 years ago, maybe you're trying to get out from up under the NCAA, like the witch hunt is coming, kind of like what Pete Carroll did when he left and took the Seahawks job in 2010. He knew they was coming. Or like when Ron Meyer left SMU and went to the Patriots, you know they coming, right? I wasn't quite sure, right? I just thought personally, I thought the comments were just loser behavior, right? Like, bro, don't the easy way, and I said this on the podcast several weeks ago, the easy way, scheduling Ohio State and all this other stuff, and the Georgia game and this all that in the Florida game. Well, Florida's a tough, Florida's got a good roster, and they do. The easy way to make sure you win some of those games, brother. The team only crosses the 50 twice. You need to beat them. Ohio State only crossed the 50-yard line twice. That's a game you should win. You should not lose to a Florida team that we all basically, a very talented Florida team. They gave Georgia some issues, some real issues. That ain't a game you should lose, right? I didn't quite see it that way. I thought he was politicking. Like, I just saw him as like straight up politicking, because the only job NFL-wise I could see for him would have to be a job with a quarterback, right? Again, I got some of my misgivings about Cam Ward. Cam Ward got a lot of Jameis Winston in his game, on the field. I want to say that clearly and publicly, on the field. I think Tennessee would be Tennessee's obvious one. Past that, Miami is a no. Arizona's a no.
Yeah.
Well, Quinn Ewers is at Miami. Now, if I'm him, I'm definitely staying away because Quinn Ewers ain't good, but
Yeah.
You look, they're going to fire everyone over there in Miami. But I'm like, Tennessee is the one job that I can think of right now that's got a young quarterback that that might have some promise, right? But this upcoming quarterback class, right? Other than Fernando Mendoza,
no, sir.
who I don't think is good.
No, sir. He is not. No,
I was going to say,
not NFL.
When I heard someone talk about him, they said he reminds me a lot of Kirk Cousins, and I'm like, you gonna take that dude in the top 5? You smoke crack, don't you? Right? You out of your mind, right? Like Dante Moore probably a year away, right? And then Sellers going back to school, Arch going back to school like he should, like I expected him to do at the beginning of the year, going back to school. Nussmeier, okay. Klubnik, right? Like there's a whole lot of Reggie in here. So I thought Sark was just politicking. Like that's how I saw it. But I can definitely see a world in a very cynical world, but also a very real world where this is him sort of planting seeds to possibly go. You know what I'm saying? Like I can see that though, Jay.
I mean, that's just my thought, right? With the reports, and of course you're gonna deny the reports, like, oh, I'm here to stay in Texas and we have the most resources and blah blah blah. Of course you're gonna say all of that, right? But like if a reporter reports something and it's a trusted reporter who's been around in circles for years, if they say something, I'm 9 times out of 10 going to believe them over the coach, right? Because it's so easy to just give coach speak and just say, like, I mean, like coach speak and hey, I'm committed to the team. This is a really good team. I'm looking forward to the years that we have up to come. We put a lot of hard work and effort into this. It's all like you could just say, you don't even have to think about the things, right? So if somebody comes out to say that, so that's why I thought that he was doing this. But to your point with this quarterback class, I mean, it is me and Cam, me and Cam Thomas, we were driving to Dallas, and I think we were listening to a podcast, and they listed, this was before the season, and they were listing like the 5 quarterbacks who could go, like Sellers and Gary Nussmeier and Clay Kubnik and Drew Aller. And I said, yo, if these are your options, like you cannot like take a quarterback in the first round. Someone is going to mistakenly do, but if these are your options, you cannot, you can't do it. And I think that we are actually at some point in time, I think we're going to see where quarterbacks are not being taken in the first round as often because they're not being developed in college at all. I would much rather take an offensive lineman or a defensive player, an edge rusher in the first round, top of the first round, over a quarterback now because no, these quarterbacks are not being developed at all in college nor in the NFL. Philip Rivers is the same age as my mama, and he had to come out here and throw passes in a live NFL game on Sunday. That should not be possible because you should have backups. You should have people who are developed enough in order to play and not have to call Philip Rivers, who probably only been tossing the ball in his backyard with his 49 kid.
Yo,
And he's a
do
grandfather.
the Texans? Yeah, he is.
And he's
He
a
is.
grandfather.
Look, singing. What's that song Mr. Brown was singing to meet the? This is your granddaddy. Right?
He's a grandfather.
He's going-
Grandfather started on Sunday, bro.
Dog, because he got a whole look. Somebody's talking about he need the insurance. They were like, because his insurance is going to lapse. His NFL
It
insurance
just
might
ran
lapse.
out. Yeah.
So that's why he's. So that's might be why he out there. I ain't gonna front with you. This is elder abuse. He is going to play against the Houston Texans in
Oh my
about 3 weeks.
gosh.
And I'm gonna tell you
Oh.
something right now. The first time he gets hit by Will Anderson or Daniil Hunter, he might. I hope they're on the road, so they're gonna be wearing white pants. The Colts wear white pants. I hope they have a backup pair of pants for Philip Rivers because he might have a bowel movement right there. He might just soil himself right there with Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter hit him. Like, this is crazy. Could you imagine? Like, this is, you know what this really is? I know you've seen them clips on the internet, JT, them boys playing 37U.
Oh my gosh. Just the most.
That's what this is. Philip, you saw that man who was 62 years old playing left guard?
Come on, man. Like,
this is dangerous. This is dangerous for Philip Rivers. And he is built like somebody's grandfather at this point. Because he was in a little shirt. He's in the best shape of his life. I'm like, is he? Is he?
Like this is different. Like we were talking about college earlier, right? So like you always hear about like these 45 or 50-year-old man like joining a college team, but like
Yes.
those guys never actually have to play. Like they never have to get on a football field. They joined the team. It's a feel-good story, right? This ain't no feel-good story. I feel bad for everyone involved, including Philip Rivers and his wife, because now she has to go back to watching all 49 of those kids again.
Well, at some point, the oldest got to take care. Like he got to take like 5 of them, right? Like
Absolutely not.
Take 5.
Listen, let me tell you something. The oldest kid, I have this from experience. You want to know something about the oldest kid? My cousin right now, this dude is the oldest. He has like 4 siblings, but also his parents had foster kids as well. So they used to be in and out of the house. You want to know where he lives at? Korea.
He said, I don't want no more.
No, because when you're the oldest, you have the most responsibility. Like you are pretty much the dad or the mother, depending on what your gender is. Like there is, like you don't want, like when I'm 8, like dog, when he was 18, he got the hiccup. Like he went to New Mexico State, then he wound up moving to Washington and said, you know what, forget it. They still calling me. I'm going to Korea.
I'm dead. That is hilarious.
We might as well call this episode more. Don't want to deal with no more kids. Don't nobody else want to deal with no more Chris Paul. And Sherrone Moore ain't gonna have to worry about going to work no more either.
Man. You were going to ask. You were going to say. Wait. You were going to say something about college football in the game.
We were going to talk about the playoffs, but hey, man, we running on time. We gonna be here for 2 hours. We gonna best around be here for 2. Look, we got to say. Look, we gonna probably come back, probably around New Year's Eve. Do another episode. We got to bring you back, JT, because we ain't laughed like this in a minute.
Man, look, I told you that I told you this a few weeks ago. I'm like, I have no idea why I have not been a part of this podcast because you should have definitely brought me on when, I mean, there were a lot of things, right? There were a lot of things that happened when Texas lost to Florida. I should have been here. You know what I mean?
You know, I
had
should have
all of
called you
Joe.
the week after. I should have called your ass the week after when Oklahoma couldn't piss a drop. That's really when I should have called you.
Listen, I would have talked about it as well. All right, as I'm a humble loser. All right, so sometimes those things happen. But guess what? We're in the playoffs, and Texas is not. And why? Because when it mattered, and we had people healthy enough, we were able to win games. And Steve Sarkisian still out here calling them bullshit ass plays, and he still don't want to run the ball, although the running game, like last year, like everything tied right. Like, I know we're about to go. Everything tied back to the running game for Texas. The reason why Texas was not successful last year is because I don't know if he made an agreement with Quinn Ewers or not, but he was like, yo, we're going to showcase you off. We're going to try to make you a Heisman winner. We're going to try to get you drafted in the first round and just completely neglected the running game. And I'm like, man, I have no idea what you're doing or why you're coaching, but buddy, you should not be calling plays because this ain't it.
Wait, hold on. Last year they had 1,000. Trey Wives were in for 1,000 last year. Like,
Go look at every game that they lost. It was
every game they
because
lost.
go
Couldn't
look
run the
at
ball.
every
Couldn't run the
game
ball.
that they lost. It was because it's because they weren't running the ball enough. They were out there trying to rely too much on Quinn Ewers trying to get him drafted.
I remember what it was, those two Georgia games. I remember one of them, the SEC title game. Wives ran the ball 20 times for like 17 yards. Like, it was like when Texas loses now, it is oftentimes, I mean, the whole season this year, Texas couldn't run the damn ball, to be honest with you. But that's also an issue, like offensive line, especially left guard. Like, they were trying out a couple of, there was some big ogre they had up there playing left tackle. He was 6'7", 360. I was like, but he worked for a week and then they had to go back to somebody else. But nah, I'll tell you this about Oklahoma, and then we're gonna get out of here. How great that defense is, because the quarterback is not very good. Like Mateer, like after those first handful of weeks, he has not been good since. And I don't know how much I can put on his hand or people figuring that offense out, but I'm like, the idea they have made it to the playoff like this within like how much of a how highly I think of Brett Venables and his defensive acumen, that they can make it to the playoffs with an offense that looks like this is like, if y'all had a real deal offense that could make some things shake, y'all could possibly win a national title. I'm dead serious.
Well, I think I'll say this, the thing that really held Oklahoma that has held Oklahoma back has been, especially offensively, has been the hires, right? So if you kind of look at it, we did a great hire. We had a great hire in Jeff Lebby. Okay. But then he left. He went to Mississippi State to take the head coaching job there. Hey, I fully understand. But then you bring in like Joe John Finley and Seth Luttrell, right? That did not work out. Like, so the hires have really been, in my opinion, the issue with the Oklahoma offense. Brent Venables being the head coach, but being a defensive guy, he's going to always go and get the best defensive players. You see what I mean? And so that's kind of the reason why you're seeing that defense go to another level now. But because now we've made I think a decent hire. He's actually scheming up really good plays. It's just John Mateer not executing, right? But I think that we've made such a really good hire that I think now the offense starts to come along. Because don't forget, if you want to win a Heisman, if you want to get drafted and go to the NFL, you go to Oklahoma to play quarterback. That's the standard, okay, for the last 25 years. All right, that's the standard. Jason White has done it. Sam Bradford has done it.
For
You
Kyler,
continue Kyler
Jalen,
Murray,
Kyler,
Jalen, Spencer Rattler, Caleb Williams, Baker Mayfield, right? Like, we're talking about a little small stretch there with like the Blake
Paul Thompson.
Bells, who Paul Thompson was 06, man. Paul Thompson had to play there because Red Bomar was like, Paul Thompson had to play because Red Bomar stole. I mean, he didn't take that money, but he was at that car dealership making money.
Yeah, he was clocking out. Like, he was getting paid by hours. He wasn't working. That's what it was. The old
Exactly.
OG brown paper bag money. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But think about this. Red Bomar made it to the NFL.
He did. Talk about eras of like previous college football. Now they wouldn't even have been like, hey, say you up here, washing the window. They'd have just gave him a deal and gave him a car. And look, it wouldn't have been no more lying about, dang, I said it again, more. I said more again. We need to get off this show before we don't have no jobs no more after this. All right.
Grab my butter knife.
I thought about bringing one.
He actually would have done a better job. He would have did a better job with a fork than with a knife.
He would have done a better job staying his black ass at home. That's what he. Good God Almighty! And that is another episode of the Game Plan Podcast. Kennedy Miller, my guy.
Man, this was a fun episode, fellas. We're gonna have to do it again.
Where can the folks find you on Twitter, my good man?
You can find me on Twitter, man, at _Kennedy Miller _. Again, that's _Kennedy Miller _.
All right, JT, let the folks know where they can find you on social media. Let them know where they can hear you calling basketball. It's basketball season now. Basketball, track coming up. You do soccer. You be out there with track and field. You be watching them boys throw the shot put. You be broadcasting that too?
I don't do track and field for high school, but I do production track and field when they do it at Prairie View. So I mean, you can really kind of find me anywhere. I'll probably be on some basketball games for Prairie View this year with Charles Porter, by the way, Alex.
We have to talk about this off air because I'm like, wow, I never thought that would happen again.
But yeah, I could be doing some games there, but mainly just doing a lot of high school sports at Texan Live. So Dave Campbell's Texan Live, download the app. You can hear all of the great calls that I have. Football, basketball, baseball, softball. I did water polo this year. All right. So it's a lot of good experience. Kennedy, I know you're over at North Shore now, so I might be at some point in time doing a North Shore game. I might be doing a North Shore game at some point in time here in the near future for basketball, varsity. But I know you'll probably, I'm pretty sure you'll stick around after the game.
I'll be there.
So but yeah, that's just what I do. I love doing it, by the way. Like it's been fun, and especially football. I get to watch a lot of players that go on to play college football. That's been the fun part. So yeah, and you can find me on. I'm never calling it X. It's Twitter. All right. It is Twitter. Okay. And so you can find me there at JT Barrett CFB.
All right. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. That's on Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM.
How do y'all still have that name?
I never changed it.
I like you and Cam.
I never went around to change it.
Kennedy, you know what TSM stands for?
I actually never asked. I never asked. What does it stand for?
So back in the Takeover Sports Media days, we changed the Twitter name to that, and then I never changed it back because I was like, when I started going with the tacos, sangria, and margaritas.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, once like I just never changed it. I never cared to, and people have been like, they just want to see how I'm going to swing the TSM and swing it into starting the show. So I'm like, you know what? We're going to stay with TSM. T as in tacos, S as in sangria, M as in Moore, like Sherrone Moore, right? Follow the Game Plan Podcast on our official YouTube channel, where if you're watching us on YouTube, you're watching there. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Wherever you're listening, however you're listening, we appreciate you guys for listening. For JT Barrett and Kennedy Miller, my name is Alex Goodwin. This has been the Game Plan Podcast. We will see you guys next time. Take it easy.